Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, I'd like a hot dog all the way, please.
Coming up. Here you go.
Thank you. Ew. What is this?
That's a corn-based hot dog flavored tube-shaped thing. It's almost good. That'll be $4.50.
You know what? No thanks.
If almost good enough isn't good enough for you, why would it be good enough for your pet? Add Kennel Kelp to your furry friend's diet. Sprinkled on your pet's food, Kennel Kelp helps with arthritis pain and stiff joints. It can also reduce shedding, fill in missing areas, and improve their looks. Healthy pets show even more energy and have better attitudes. See results in 4 to 8 weeks. The good news is, Kennel Kelp isn't just for pets. It's good for you, too. Sprinkle it on your cereal, or use it instead of table salt when seasoning your food. Kennel Kelp is the holistic care solution for pets and their people. Safe for dogs, cats, birds, cows, chickens, reptiles, almost anything that walks, flies, or slithers. It's a holistic health solution for humans, too. To learn about their many products, visit kennelkelp.com. Get Kennel Kelp for a happier, healthier life.
Dog lovers, get the Liberty Wristband, the clever new hands-free way to keep your dog on a leash. Forget holding onto leashes or wrapping them around your wrist. The Liberty Wristband special clip lets you hook your dog's leash to your wrist for complete control while leaving your hands free. Carry your coffee, talk on the phone, all while keeping total control of your dog and his leash. When it's time for your dog to run free, a quick flick of the clip releases him. There's nothing else like the Liberty Wristband. Order yours today at kennelkelp.com. That's Kennel and Kelp with a K. kennelkelp.com.
For people with physical challenges, walking a dog can be difficult, even dangerous, but the Liberty Wristband makes life so much easier. Developed by a disabled veteran, the Liberty Wristband easily straps around your wrist, then uses a unique clip to hold your dog's leash tight, all while keeping both of your hands free. Releasing your dog is easy too. With a quick flick of the clip, your dog is free. The Liberty Wristband, order yours today at kennelkelp.com. That's Kennel and Kelp with a K. kennelkelp.com.
Well, hello, yes, and good morning, and welcome once again to the BH Sales Kennel Kelp Holistic Healthcare Show. And I'm your host, Bill. And good, happy Tuesday morning, July the 24th. Here in Greater Portland, Maine, East Coast Standard Time, about 4:02 a.m. And today I want to talk to you folks about BH Sales Kennel Kelp Powders, my new CBD oil, my sacred clay, and my Diatomaceous earth, the last three of which come under the umbrella. Those that are my clients and have followed me for years know I often reference these as my BH Sales Power Trio. And I'll elaborate on that a little bit more in the context of the show today. But I've also, over the last 3 weeks, been pretty matriculated in launching this CBD oil and the new craze across America to coincide with the passage of the hemp law for agricultural farm growing, arising here in the next 90 days to become official. Everybody and their brother is, if they're not already familiar with the medicinal value of hemp, hemp has had medicinal value since biblical times, long, complicated story, government, FDA, Big Pharma, that's PHARMA. Thus is, they did never want hemp to come to prominence because of its powerful medicinal value. And I've talked about in the last couple of shows, really all the craziness started back in the 30s, basically with the movie Reefer Madness, and the last 7.5 decades since, basically, there's been a big, huge misnomer about marijuana, THC, CBDs, and all. I'll get back to the CBDs, and I've been talking about that extensively over the last month. Being a sole proprietor and offering many products, and talking about where I changed my direction in the course of 2018, and I'm refining the business, and I'm semi-retired, and where I'm at in life, and geographics, and mortality, and all of those things factored in, I approach a home-based business much differently than probably most of you in the listening audience for the obvious demographics and reasons that I just mentioned: longevity, duration of the new workforce, and so forth. Thus being, this is an excellent program, excellent product. I'm going to continue to campaign and move forward, but everybody under the auspices of being offered the free website for 30 days. It's exactly what it entails. And if you look at the paradigm compensation copyrighted that I told you about, but I also like to give everybody the total focus. It's like any program other than what differentiates this is two forthright and substantial and financially secure brothers who started the company, so you want to do your homework about that first. Totally financially solvent company, debt-free, etc. So that's a major consideration. What they offer you is a free website. Everybody in the CBD business is now coming up with that theme in a back office, so that makes them basically one of many in that regard. But you want to look at the advantages of the medicinal benefits of the products themselves, the GMP facility, and so forth. But what I do want to make intimately clear for you, especially as I recruit my own team members, in that 30-day cycle, of course, you slide up and down accordingly due to your efforts and response. It's all based on response, folks. There's no fictitious pretend in the sky. You know, you make what you make through your effort, and networking is exactly what the name implies. So I don't want to get too off course on that, but my point is I'm moving onward and upward with my everyday affairs and my other businesses as well, because those are putting food on the table while I'm nurturing this business. And you have to have an appreciation for where I'm at in life. And everybody has to take that at face value, that I'm jumping in with both feet, promoting this product big time, putting my own money into it via advertising and so forth, which is also something that I have to watch as a sole proprietor. So my team members that come on board, I make them aware that you do not necessarily have to buy all these packages that are out there about how to drive attention to your website and all that kind of stuff. I got 40 years experience in the business. I can show you how to do that if you care to join in. I can show you how through affiliate programs that I offer my products that are also already extended my 50-25 discounting program for any purchases, my customer rewards and incentives packages, my 4 distinct auto ship programs, my 3 group purchasing plans. There's extra incentives should you decide to come on my team for CTFO. And that's how I'm going to operate moving forward. So, having said that, start living your dream. You have that potential in this home-based business. Everything you need to start generating income from home is right here. And you have to ask yourself, or I ask myself constantly, are you tired of making someone else rich? I've made a lot of people rich over 40 years, myself not included. Do you wish you had more time, flexibility, and freedom to do the things you enjoy? This is why I left the corporate world by choice 25 years ago. Yes. I'm answering my own questions here. Will a 6-figure residual income change your life? Of course. Well, you can make it happen. I can make it happen. We can make it happen. But again, in the guise of reality. But it's not unattainable. So hear the message, tunnel audio. Hear the message completely. Thank you. Whether you realize it or not, certain trends are taking shape right now, especially with the passage of the hemp law. And finally, the FDA having to give in to the fact of the medicinal value of hemp oil, which has no THC level when it's in the isolate form, and the very low discernible level of 0.003% THC if it's not in isolate form, and then all the differentiations of THC and how THC in marijuana does have a medicinal purpose, but how it can counteract depending on your affliction, PTSD in some instances. The psychoactive element of THC can onset the depression and anxiety that's already there. Most of the percentile of PTSD clients and participants usually vape and/or use the CBD oils in lieu of, because of the definition of their disease. So the psychoactive part, that's all craziness from 1936 movie. It's controllable, it's manageable, it's not 1968 and a bunch of hippies under a bridge or whatever. It's not that type of a thing. But there's an audience like anything that will embrace it, and there's an audience that will walk away from it. So those are obviously the audiences we're trying to tune into in home, and especially in regards to this home-based business opportunity. So if you're someone that challenges yourself, if you're actually looking for, if you're a mom in a mom situation, you can work 1 hour, 10 hours, 100 hours. It's totally optional. But do understand the gamut of what it can avail you. It's very true. It's very attainable. But be well-versed that, you know, you're not going to be buying islands in Bahamas or something like that. That's what makes this company different. And as I started to make some cold calls here in the greater Portland area, I chuckle as I walk in because that's been my approach for over 40 years. I hard sell no one. And I started laughing in one spot in particular, in a dog washing spa here locally. And as I walked in, I have a T-shirt. I've talked about all of this. You know, it says, "Are you in pain?" Talks about CBD oil, my website, under this dedicated website program, et cetera, et cetera. And I simply said to him, I said, "How many people have come in here before me with CBD oil and presentations?" And he was kind of taken aback from that and astounded because you could tell he was going to be standoffish right from the beginning in all candor. And I don't operate that way. So that immediately made him relax. And he goes, "Well, you're at least the 10th person." And I said, "Well, I just want to leave you this card. This should explain what differentiates us from probably the other 9 that came in before me, and probably the other 10 to 15 that will come in right behind me." And I answered a Craigslist ad to come on board with this, and I already noticed that there's several companies at Local Note, and then there's fellow team members here at CTFO that are on the opposite coast that are actually also advertising the same program here in the main market, the New England area. So there's lots of sharks circling the blood, if you will. It's a lucrative opportunity. It's a commodity that's going to sell. It's the wave of the future in medicine. So everybody wants to jump in, chime in, and what have you. And then, of course, there's approaches on marketing. I just alluded to one. I have representatives, fellow cohorts in this company. I don't know, they have like 1,000 plus employees. They're signing up 700 people a day and all of that. But I have a team that's based on the East Coast that's actually taking out advertisements in a local regional area here in Maine. And the person that recruited myself lives in New Hampshire. So, I mean, we're all saturating the market and we're all coming after you. And you all need to be prepared for that as proprietors, if you haven't already noticed that. So myself, I've always operated on a different premise, and there's books that you can read and videos and all of that. Everybody has to find their niche. I carved mine by starting my own company over 25 years ago. I'm the babe in the woods, and I survived because of it. I'm not sure what that means other than I'm a survivor, and I continue to explore these options. So see, when you ask yourself, are you looking for supplemental income and you're reading the local want ads or what have you, wherever you may live, and you look at the temp jobs, the day jobs, if you're looking for strictly supplemental income, and you know what that does and doesn't avail you. So this is a really strong opportunity, and it is going to become more prevalent when you do, whether you come on board with CTFO and BA Sales and Bolt or not. I just want to make that perfectly clear that this is not a permit scheme. We are not working out of a boiler room. I'm not calling you from some godforsaken island out in the Caribbean or whatever. I'm just a guy that at 64 years old is trying to figure out what I'm going to do to supplement my own income, because thanks to our U.S. government, Social Security certainly isn't going to take care of myself moving forward, and my retired wife who's on a fixed pension income and so forth. Thus is why I'm about to probably take yet another private sector job part-time, as I've done over the years, to rejuvenate staying in business for myself. The main reason for doing so, tax write-offs. I talked about that in a couple of shows. Home-based businesses, that's the rub. Whatever you do from home, there's tons of write-offs, so why not align yourself with a viable company, a reputable and marketable product? But just do be aware, go into it with no expectations that they're just going to give you a website. They do, with no web fees and so forth. They do. But you don't just throw a website out on the internet and expect it to happen. So it's your interest level, your input level, how much you participate, how much you can participate. The bells and whistles, I've talked about wave monitor marketing and so forth. I've gotten my feet into that a little bit. Moving forward, again, it comes back to the same thing as a small proprietor. You have to constantly weigh overhead, cost of doing business, and so forth. So I'm going to ride the tide on this one for the balance of this calendar year, and we'll see where it takes us moving forward. But it is a great opportunity, and I've talked enough about home-based business for a while. I have to get back to my other products that coincide and work synergistically with this product, but at the same time as paying my bills. Okay, I start every show out with a joke of the day. Today's joke is, how do astronomers organize a party? They plan it, as in P-L-A-N-E-T, planet. Insert symbols. I'll be here all week. Tip your waitresses and waiters. Have a good night. Drive safely. Okay. Thoughts of the day. Why today matters. Today is not just any ordinary day. Today is a day that matters. Today you will have the choice to make a difference in your life and those around you. Today you'll have the choice to smile rather than frown. Be grateful rather than selfish. Lift up rather than put down. Accept rather than reject. Love rather than hate. Today you'll have the choice of seeking hope for the future or remain in the hopelessness of the past. Today you have the choice to laugh or cry. Both will make you feel better. Today you will have the undivided attention of the King of the universe. At that time, you can ask him anything you want. You can ask for help. You can plead for a friend or just enjoy his presence. It all depends on you. Whichever you choose, today matters. Make the choice to make it a day worth living. And don't forget, tomorrow is another day. And I have to do the disclaimer, which I always do. That is copyrighted, emphasis copyrighted, emphasis copyrighted, circa 2015, author Tom Krause, author Tom Krause, author Tom Krause. That alleviates myself. That is a disclaimer. Thank you. Prayer of the day. So, do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. You need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what he has promised. That's actually Hebrews 10:35-36 NIV. Lord our God, we bow down before you in this time when you have brought us hardships and judgment. Change this earthly age, we beseech you. Bring in something from heaven so that your will may be done and your mercy come to all nations. Strengthen us on all our ways, we pray. We thank you for all you have done for us. May your name be praised and glorified at all times. We want to follow you and to remain in heavenly life. Amen. Okay, quickly about the home-based business. In my humble opinion, look at where you are on the chronological ladder. Make a good assessment as to what supplemental income you want to attain, what you're revealed for earnest effort if you jump in. Appreciate what it avails you. Understand that nothing is just given to anybody. So there's attainable levels and so forth. And I'm out actively marketing it and will be. And it is a ground floor opportunity. I flash back always in the 90s when I decided to leave the corporate world. I talk a lot about my granddaughter, Ada, what I do for Ada. My website's dedicated to Ada. This whole program and the reason that I'm on board is for Ada. Ada's about to go to private parochial school. And in 6 years from now, good Lord willing, she'll be graduating from high school. Good Lord willing, I'll be here to see that. Good Lord willing, should be going on to a secondary education, then good Lord willing, my family and I will be able to pay for it now and in the future. It's that simple. Cut, set, dry. And also looking to accentuate my own retirement plan, being a sole proprietor, and leaving in the 90s, as I said, lots of times not daring to take like the .com craze. I know plenty of people I deal with as vendors now that made billions of dollars in that. It's a consideration. Any venture, this is a no out of the pocket. If you keep it to basic, $48 auto ship, buy a product, use it, take it around the block, kick the tires, that builds you into the paradigm. Look at the information about the compensation package on the paradigm. Understand it, break it down, dissect it. If you participate, you need to go on to auto ship. You need to buy a product yourself. You need to move forward. That'll cost you $47 and some change. That puts you into the first level. Read about the profit sharing, PSPs, the matrix. You have to self-educate and teach yourself to fully embrace if it's for you and understand what you're undertaking. But at the same time, I do a lot of temp work. I do a lot of work through temp agencies to supplement this business. And I know from where I speak, I get lots of subsequent conversations about, oh my God, wage is definitely something. The day labor, part-time job, those are what they are. They fill the void. But, basically you do, if you're not looking for full-time gains of employment, you know the routine. You're doing labor. You're going to warehouses. You're cleaning. You're doing maintenance, what have you. That's what the market bears, and the wage goes accordingly. This will definitely pay you more money because you pay yourself, but you do have to understand the parameters. You do get a website free for 30 days, no hidden charges, no fees. As a small business proprietor, that was one of the major considerations for myself. That is why I've been redundant over the last 7.5 months about cutting down inventory on hand out of my house, which is a 1,000 square foot condo. Being a sole proprietor, being an independent, being the webmaster, being the shipper, borrower, receiver, packer, invoice, accountant, PR man, or what have you, it's a lot, and it costs money. It's a lot. It's all by choice. I make the analogy of, like, in the 60s, the Ed Sullivan Show, look it up on the net, depending your age. There was a guest, a frequency there that spun all these plates and to crescendo music, and pardon me, would run up and down the stage trying to keep the dishes from smashing on the floor. Well, any sole proprietor can tell you that's exactly one of the best life analogies ever. And, it gets to the point, moderate income, my wife has a good pension, we have good insurance coverage. However, that just went up again by $100. I've talked to some employers in interviews over the years about that's the dichotomy. Most insurance packages, as you well know out there, $5,000 deductibles, $3,000 deductibles. And I asked one employer, because of the way I choose to live by eating these clays, by now taking the cannabinoids, I've taken cannabinoids for years and taking this new product, much better, just got to talk more about that. I've tried these products, the emo oil, the pain rub. I'm having a client come on and do a live testimonial about that. Those are all things that are coming up on the show. You have to stay tuned. I've started a hobnob in the local market. I've reached out to Dr. Sulak. I've talked about that. Check the archival shows. He basically was the innovator for bringing the medical marijuana practice to Maine, the wellness centers. I'm going there for my physical next month. I've talked about that. I've talked about my physician, Dr. Eng. I've talked about how we've talked about my therapy, my regime, my diet choices over the years to include Maine tourmaline water, which is also another product that I'm looking to share through church programs and so forth. So there's much, much more wealth of information coming up about all of these products, but I want to go to an outtake show right now about earthen-clay, Vitality Herbs and Clay, Michael King, proprietor. Michael's been on the show before. This outtake is from a couple of years ago. We have a program. I deal direct with Michael. I started with his product under private label. You can read all about it. He's a client of mine. He buys my kelp-powders. My kelp-powders are in many of his products as an ingredient. I also have a program that you can contact him direct through my affiliate program and his staff. You just reference V8 sales. You keep any information of anything that you order direct from him that kicks back and gives you my V8 sales virtual 50/25 voucher, which is applicable to a 50% discount on my kennel kelp, not powdered, not 50-pound bags and 20-pound bags, and or 25% discount on any other item that I offer. What the name implies, it's a virtual voucher. You get no coupon. When you call direct to any of the manufacturers, I have several that come under that premise. I talked about Primal Life Organics yesterday, the Health Food Ranger. I have several of those affiliate programs, Vita Choice Fish Oil. All the same premise. If you order direct from them, they do not do anything about the V8 sales side of it other than you retort to you the information that you just made on your purchases from them to include the basics, your invoice number, the products that you ordered from them, any sales that they may be offering. They will obviously extend those to you. That's when you come back to me, if you choose to do so. You contact me via my Contact Us page so I can circumvent the PayPal checkout system that charges my everyday low pricing. And when you care to exercise the virtual voucher option that I created, nobody in the industry does this other than myself. There's no time limit, 30 days, 40 days, 45. I'd like to see you use it within 5 years or before I die. But other than that, you contact me, you verify, that's how you verify what I just retorted. That documents that you ordered it through my program. You're not just randomly picking up the phone and working both sides of the fence. Unfortunately, ubiquitous audience, folks. No aspersions, but ubiquitous audience. You have to go through the proper channels, and that's how it's documented. But at that time, you have the option to exercise a 50% discount on my kelp and or 25% discount on any other product that I offer, to include all these products I've talked about. And that's a good way to use that to introduce yourself, for instance, to my liquid sea vegetables. 118 nutrients, my scalar energy technology, C7 tech chip, cancer research in the City of Hope. As I hobnobbed in the Portland area over the last couple of days, I had the pleasure of talking on the phone with Catholic Charities. The young lady there, Judy, long story short, we had an initial conversation. I presented this program to her. One of the things I do is I give a percentile in overall sales at my website back to the Animal Refuge League in a local level. And I've tried to establish all these programs with disabled service vets, both with the CBD oil coming up. I'll be doing that, and my Liberty wristband, which is a medical device as well as a casual dog walking device. So here's the outtake from Michael King on Sacred Clay, and I'll be back in a bit.
So this is now October the 12th, 2010, and tonight's call is all about the happy clays, earthen sources bearing naturally occurring ormus elements. Now, the ormus clays are a unique variety of clay, largely because there's a concentration of ormus elements, monoatomic elements, in them that is beyond the norm. You'll find that a regular bentonite, a zeolite, any other volcanic material is going to have ormus properties to it if you put it through a ritual of acids and alkaline lye and so forth. There are procedures whereby you can manufacture or concentrate ormus elements within them. Every single volcanic material, practically every dirt source in the earth, practically every food to some degree, is going to have at least a residual amount of ormus elements in them. The atmosphere has it, water has it, the spring water specifically is going to be stronger. There are many elements throughout nature that possess ormus qualities. In fact, they are so prevalent, they were actually a major part of why in the ancient cultures, thousands upon thousands of years ago, our trees, before we went into the logging era, our trees were 400 feet tall. Fruit-bearing trees were massive. Your walnuts would be the size of lemons, and apples would be huge. Cherries would be in the nature of 8, 10, 20 cherries a pound. And why do we know this? Because we're already accomplishing these feats in the Ormus community, in agriculture. We know that. In our current agriculture, we've lost one of the most important constituents to our soils, and that is the elements of Ormus, monoatomic elements. In the ancient world, before pesticides and herbicides and plowing of the soil, tilling of the soil, before all that happened, there was an abundance of Ormus aspects in all of nature. And now we have a situation where it's very hard to find. So where do we find this? The tremendous science is coming out, searching for these elements and looking for ways to concentrate them. It's a tremendous science. And it is studying the use of these single atom-sized elements found naturally occurring in soils and various other sources and ways to extract them. It's currently being used in fuel cell technology, computers, mainly because of their superconductor properties, and in the fuel cell technology it has a way of preventing sparks and ignitions and so forth. It's utilized in the farm and garden arena today. It's utilized in human health. It's utilized to balance emotions, improve meditation, improve the chi flow, inspire creativity, and great purposeful motion in life. It's designed to focus your attention, focus your energies, focus your mental intent, and therefore it assists in you manifesting whatever you focus your mind on. And because it has a balancing effect, it brings about balance in your system. It brings about balance in your mind and your emotions. It brings about balance in your intentions. And so you're able to manifest more effectively. You're able to achieve a greater state of health. There are other qualities that are characteristic of Ormus, documented in scientific literatures today, is its improvement on the DNA molecule of the human being. Now we see that there is a tremendous improvement in the health of a plant that is grown under the influence of an Ormus-bearing clay. So we come to the conclusion that science has some validity. If Ormus properties will straddle either side of the DNA and cause it to literally open up and repair itself, the amino acid combinations in there will rearrange themselves to a more healthful state, and then cells that reproduce from that DNA will also be more healthful. And so life gets better and younger as you get older. And truthfully, we do see evidence of that in our own lives after 5 or so years consuming these Ormus-bearing clays. We do see improvements in our vitality, and we see certainly improvements in mood and happiness, and thus the name Happier Clays. Whenever there's moments of stress. You're trying to figure out how to pay the bills. You've got all these concerns, as is common to the world that we experience today. We notice that a dose of earth-enormous or ormalite or vitalite helps to soothe right away. It's within minutes. We see the soothing, calming, focusing effect, and so the mind gets clear. You can make better decisions, and so it just makes life a better way, a better, more enjoyable place to live, this planet. So what we've got going is what are the properties of ormus, and how can we derive it? How can we utilize that in our everyday life? And so because of the great science that's been around it over especially the last 30 years, and it's increasing literally by the day as more and more people understand the power of ormus-bearing properties in clays and other foods and so forth. As they consume it, they get the benefit. And so there's many ways that these properties are being derived. They're being derived from sea waters and salts and other volcanic materials and so forth. But generally, because of the minuscule aspects or quantities of ormus in them, they require the lye and the acids, etc., in order to be formed. So how do they know that they've got it when they've got it? Well, ormus is the original version of an element. It is in its unclustered form. That means that, by definition, an angstrom element, which is another term for ormus, these atoms would be no closer than 4 angstroms to each other. They have a very unique non-polarity about them. And so they don't attract, they don't bond to each other as well. And so this 4 angstrom separation is a common characteristic in the world of ormus material. And thus we have the designation monatomics, or monoatomic atoms, monoatomic elements, one atom. Now, science is definitely, still, configuring and debating and researching and determining, what is an ormus element. But nevertheless, the general focus here is you have atoms in approximately a single atom state. They operate more like superconductors, and so they produce a much more refined effect upon the hormonal system, upon the human body, upon the DNA of a plant and of a human, of an animal, etc. And it's designed to be part of that agelessness that was characteristic of the some lives of old. You've heard of the lifetimes in which people spent 700, 800, 900 years. Well, these were relatively short lifetimes compared to what used to be lived prior to that. So this is not an uncommon thing if you're in a world that is, you're breathing ormus as you go about your day. Similar to the pollens that used to be very, very prolific in our atmosphere, and the pollens do have their own ormus aspects to them. These are characteristically what feed the nucleus of the cells, what feed the endocrine glands, and provide them with stimulus or influences which promote proper hormone production and up and down the chain from head to toe. Therefore, you have a greater state of balance, a very life-giving state of balance, an enhanced life-giving state of balance. And so they're very valuable to any diet. If one is looking to improve their health overall, then you definitely want to consider the daily use of an ormus-bearing earthen resource. One of the great advantages to an ormus-bearing earthen resource is that it takes very little to make a big difference. And so when you realize just how powerful that little eighth of a teaspoon, or a quarter of a teaspoon, or 30th of a teaspoon, as in the case of ormolite, can be, and what gradual rejuvenative effect it can have on the human physiology, then you'll realize just why that statement is made. It's important, if your goal is optimal health, to be sure to be consuming on a regular basis some earthen resource that is particularly strong in the ormus elements. Now, the difference between an ormus element and, let's say, an ormus element of gold, which you've heard of the white powder of gold thing, and say the difference between that and a gold nugget is literally that in the gold nugget they cluster together, and in an ormus gold they don't. And so that simple distinction gives the unclustered version a unique set of properties and the clustered version another set. That's why you're able to see the gold nugget, but not really see the single atom, but you can feel their effects and you can observe their effects. So this study has brought out not just its application in human physiology and the plants, but it's also widely now becoming very popular in industrial science. So this is not like just strictly an esoteric spiritual practice that it used to be. You've heard of the Philosopher's Stone and the manna from heaven. Well, that was basically ormus, an ormus product that was being formed back in those days. And so because it was so valuable, it was sought after by the priests and the esoteric practitioners. It was utilized in medicinal practices back then, and today we're finding it has a very remarkable array of medicinal benefits. I won't go into that. I'm just saying that it's important that if you are seeking optimal health, that you maintain a regular consumption of some earthen resource that is ormus-bearing in its nature and fairly concentrated. And I want to distinguish that from some of the other types of ormus products, of which there is a prolific measure going on. Lots of people are making ormus these days, many, many people. And so there are a wide variety of ways to put it together, but the bottom line is you have to raise the pH and lower the pH in a single experiment. And so typically lyes and acids are part of the process. And then you end up with a precipitation or a concentration of some raw material from a natural source that concentrates these elements. Well, frankly, I'll be real honest with you. I'm not a great fan of concentrations, and I'm not a fan of them for one specific reason. I believe Mother Nature did not make a mistake when she created them in the concentration originally. And so where we find it organically contained in an earthen resource, whether it be a food or a clay or a rock or a salt or seawater, then that's in my opinion, the best way to attain it. And because it fits the human physiology in superior ways to a concentration, which is missing the rest of the story. The concentrations of herbs and ormus elements, the extraction of white powder of gold from gold itself, as an example, which I realize this is stepping way outside the box of those who are great fans of such. But frankly, I feel as though it creates an imbalance in the body because it's not harmonized with the rest both from the single atom point of view as well as the cluster point of view and the trace mineral point of view. So these are very important properties that deserve to be included in the making of an Ormus product, or naturally occurring Ormus product. Nature knows how to do that. Nature's very good at putting these things together. And so I trust that formulation. I trust Mother Nature's combinations, her ratios of balancing a calcium to a magnesium and a gold to a silver, or to an iridium or to a copper. Those ratios in the mineral kingdom are utterly essential to the healthfulness of a resource. If that balance is disturbed through concentrations or excessive heat or other altercations of chemicals and so forth, now you have an imbalanced product, something nature did not create. And so the multidimensional aspects and the electromagnetic influences are all now disturbed according to what nature knew needed to be in that unconcentrated, unaltered form of a natural resource. Mother knows best in that respect, and so I trust that process. And while today it's more rare that we are able to find a source of highly concentrated Ormus elements, if I'm going to consume higher concentration, I prefer that it be something that was invented by Mother Nature and not a laboratory, or not a lion acid process. I trust that more. Not only that, it's much safer in the human body. Some of the products that I've tasted, you could still taste the lye, you could still taste the acids, and then it kind of wigs you out a little bit, not just because of that, but for other reasons, because it's not balanced. And so when I consume an earthen clay in the proper dose, my life is enhanced in a more balanced fashion, and there is a clearly decisive improvement in my physiology and how I feel, etc., and my ability to manifest and all. So, fortunately, whether it's my direct intention to find the best of the best that Mother Nature had to offer, or whether it was some form of predestiny that I programmed for myself as a soul, I don't know. But I can say that over the last 10 years since I've been committing myself to the development of the best earthen resources I could put together, they've come into my hands left and right. And Ormalite was one of those destiny finds. So it was very interesting. Ormalite was one of those finds that, out of thousands of acres, a hole is drilled into the ground looking for another kind of clay. And upon testing that myself, realized it is an Ormus property. And not only that, it turns out to be what may be the strongest, most concentrated form of naturally occurring Ormus on the planet known today. So that I call a destiny find, and it means pay attention. Make this available to the world in every way possible. And I've made that effort. Well, we don't know what quantity there is available, and there's quite a bit of expense in order to make this really available to the world in a major way, millions of dollars literally, that we've made our first baby steps, and we're doing this in the best way we know how, and getting very, very good results. So it's worth paying attention to what the Ormus-bearing clays can do, specifically the Ormalite, taken in proper amounts. And if you go to the link in the email, or you'll find it will take you to an article on Ormalite. It's in our articles FAQ sections under minerals, and you will find much more graphic description of how ormalite was discovered and its properties, and some warnings about getting too much. You get laid back, you miss a few appointments, you get real happy, and but not the giddy kind. You just get relaxed, meditative, and focused, and very interested in your life purpose, much more so than if you're worried about bills and doing the 9 to 5. So ormalite is one of those very unusual clay sources that was our second real experience with an ormus-bearing natural resource. The first one was literally where I learned about ormus, and fortunately or thankfully, my good friend Ted pursued me for about 6 months to learn about ormus properties in his specially charged trap water, which is using magnets to concentrate ormus properties out of spring water or some other source. And so we used our clay, the sacred clay. That was what we had at the time. We used the sacred clay, and we spun it through his trap, and was able to derive a very good source, a strong, balanced source of ormus-containing water residue. I later used the wet method, which is the use of lyes, and I just used washing, no acids. I just washed it until its pH went from very high to low, and was able to precipitate a very powerful but stable causing effect on the human physiology degree of ormus out of this sacred clay. So I knew that it was there. It was very obvious. It was provable via the effect. However, when you consume a full tablespoon of sacred clay, there's only a very, very mild, noticeable effect of strengthening and lifting that carries you throughout the day. I like that 1 tablespoon dose every day. It's sustaining, supporting, strengthening, hormone balancing. But you wouldn't consider that necessarily right off the bat an ormus effect because it's so mild. So fortunately, we also came across this ormalite in search of more of the paraphyllite, surprisingly, how it came about. And we have that available. And then through another series of interesting phenomena or circumstances, we came across the Vitalite. It's basically a region that is a very precious energy, a very heart-opening, very profound quality, noticeable if you're sensitive to energy, but the story for that one we'll tell another day. But really, it's milder in its ormus effects, still noticeable. The dose compared to ormalite, a 1/30th of a teaspoon per day, maybe twice a day. If with ormalite, if your system is worn out or you're not as sensitive, you may require 2, 3, or 4 dosages of that in a day. But at some point, you begin to realize you've had a proper amount to get the job done, feel calm, cool, collected, and meditated, but not so much so that you can't, that you would start forgetting appointments like I have in the past on several occasions. So you have to be aware of that one. But Vitalite, really, I don't see that happening. It's a milder version, definitely there, but it has a different quality, and that is it sustains your energetics even through hard labor in a remarkable way. So I like it for that purpose, and so I utilize it more for a daytime focusing of the mind, and if I'm out doing heavy-duty landscaping, or like when Barbara and I went out to the clay mine and harvested shovelful by shovelful 2,000 pounds of our agricultural clay. We're bringing in as much as we can without using the heavy machinery before the snows set in, and so I built a big sifter and we processed. Well, That only took us about 6 hours of work, and largely because we were able to accomplish this under the influence of clays, and the Vitalite was one of those components. Other things, energy and mental clarity, or not that, but adaptogenic mushroom blend and kidney adrenal builder, and those were also part of it. But nevertheless, we found that it gives you long-term sustained energy, even after 4, 5, or 6 hours of work, hard work. And then I brought a team of guys, a couple guys out there, and we harvested 5,000 pounds of clay in the same 6 hours using a better sifting apparatus. And so we were able to maintain this level of focus and physical stamina, partly due to the influence of these clays and other things. Yerba mate was a big component for that day. The Vitalite doesn't have that stimulating effect that coffee or black tea would have. It does have energizing effects. However, it has some adaptogenic influences, which we'll talk about in a minute, which is more, it can also help you go to sleep, especially people who are in high cortisol. There is a calming of the cortisol. Interesting. So there's people who get overstimulated by calming agents. They're in reversal. Well, Vitalite is an ideal thing to, flip the switch when you want to go to sleep. That's a great one to take. So we do have some clients who use it that way. Otherwise, it's for those who are not in reversal but just having trouble getting to sleep, then, which, by the way, extreme adrenal fatigue is one of the causes for that reversal state. So anything that's going to build up your adrenal functions, your hormonal production in the adrenal glands, and balance out that cortisol level is what you want to pay attention to. While there are certain herbs in the kidney adrenal builder, but there's also minerals of all kinds, earthen minerals such as the ancient mineral blend, the sacred clay, the Vitalite, ormalite. These are minerals that nourish the body and give it back its power to produce its proper assortment of hormones, energizing and then of hormones, and then as well as the ability to turn off those hormones when it's time, turn off those energizing hormones, turn off the cortisol, turn on the melatonin out of your pineal gland. Pineal produces melatonin, so you don't really need the supplement. So ormalite, Vitalite, sacred clay, ancient mineral blend, these have a tendency to activate your pineal gland. They're minerals. The hormonal system needs these minerals to manufacture their hormones. And I know just how powerful this is. When I took the ancient mineral blend component and I consumed it in 2 to 3 tablespoons a day for 7 days with a superfood green product at the time back in the mid-90s, and I eliminated 45 years of severe low blood sugar symptoms in 7 days. So I understood from that just how powerful minerals, broad-spectrum earthen minerals, can be on the human physiology, particularly the hormonal system, specifically those adrenal glands that are under such major stress. So for that reason, I began this search into the herbs that contain lots of minerals, such as nettles and alfalfa, and the superfood greens, and the pollen, which are all mineral-rich, seaweeds, algae. And then as the clays came into my life again, I remember reading the Our Earth, Our Cure book back in the 1970s, not realizing how involved I would be in the harvest and distribution of dynamic clays, that it took another, 35 years or so before I actually understood sacred clay and began producing it. And then the Ormus clays was a whole other world I had no clue of back then. And so that's only been in the last five years or so. Fortunately, the effect of these clays have had a very profound positive influence, not only in our business, but also in our physical health, demonstrating how valuable they are to any health-giving program. So Vitalite is a major component now because of its energizing and sustaining influence, and it's milder and a little more, say, stable than Ormalite in high quantities. You can consume a teaspoon of that. I don't know that you need to, but I know William, our customer service rep, has certainly consumed that much when he was very tired, and it just, he slept about 3 hours the night before and was trying to reset his biological clock there. And sure enough, a teaspoon of Vitalite later, I think, maybe it was a tablespoon, I forgot. I don't recommend a tablespoon of Vitalite, but I think that's what he actually took, and he was buzzing. He was doing fine several hours later. So I'm just saying it does work. So use it as you see fit. Sacred clay, on the other hand, being the most mild of those that we are putting into the earth enormous, is used in a wide variety of ways for detoxification, mineral nourishment, fungal reduction in the body, in the soil. It's rejuvenative properties, and for clay packs and baths and so forth, foot baths, etc. Excellent clay in so many ways. That's why I got so interested in it over the years. It took me a while, but I finally caught on. And now we are having another component that will be entered into the new earthen ormus products. So earthen ormus, let's talk about that. Earthen ormus. Now this is where I've put together the best of these ormus containing earthen resources. I've combined the Ormalite with the Vitalite and the sacred clay, added the humic and fulvic substance, which way it's always been. Purpose being, I'm sure there's ormus in there, but I've never explored it. But what we do know is that the humic fulvic substance helps to potentize and anything you put it with, as well as make it more bioavailable to the cells. And there are numerous other benefits to detoxification, chelation, and so forth, all attributed to humic fulvic substance. It's a black material used in very small quantities. Excessive quantities of that, it'll blow you out of the water. You won't even feel like following your purpose, like with Ormalite. You won't even feel like reading a book. You just want to lie down and just veg it for a while. That's if you get too much detoxing, it stresses the kidneys. So we put mild amounts, very small amounts, just enough to potentize the formulation. And now our newest formulation, which is not yet fully posted on the website, but it will be very soon. So future orders of earthen ormus will also contain the ancient plant minerals, which is the major component in our ancient mineral blend formula. Now, the reason for that is because so many people are finding earthen ormus a very valuable thing to take when they wake up in the middle of the night and they can't get back to sleep. We've been recommending the two. Take a teaspoon or so of ancient mineral blend and some earthen ormus, and usually within 5 or so minutes you're back asleep again. So I figured, well, why not we just incorporate it? And it will bulk up the product to make it a little more minerals that way. It won't change the price any. We're going to probably keep the same price. And you'll get more bulk in your system. And we can provide that extra magnesium for not only the nighttime but also the day. So a little bit of earthen ormus, the new formulation before bed, helps you go to sleep. You can add extra ancient mineral blend if you want for the laxative purposes, because the amount in earthen ormus won't make that much difference. It's only going to be very small, but it's just there to provide a small amount of magnesium into the formulation from a naturally occurring full-spectrum mineral source, the ancient plant minerals, and calm the nerves, help turn off that cortisol, help help you to go to sleep, have a deeper sleep because of the pineal stimulation of melatonin prompted by the ormolite and vitalite, and then the human growth hormone, which comes out of the pituitary gland. That, again, needs minerals in order to produce the human growth hormone. So you will see that by adding these earthen, ormus, naturally occurring resources into your nighttime toddy, that a very small amount of water is necessary because you only use a quarter of a teaspoon. So it helps you to not only have a deeper rest and better dreams and more vivid dreams in many respects, but also helps to rejuvenate the body while you sleep. That's the purpose of the human growth hormone. So now you can see you don't need the melatonin and you don't need the HGH that are common isolates out there, which have side effects. Both of them, oftentimes are not natural resources. Melatonin most often is a chemical synthesized chemical. So we definitely don't want to be putting that in your brain. However, if you can derive a similar benefit from these products, now you have a natural stimulus and your body produces its own. And it's a true hormone, and it's in exactly the dose that you need because your body knows best in that respect. That's nature's design. Now, we also have our deep sleep formula, which I use regularly. It just changes the quality of sleep, really smooths out, and is not habit-forming and does not make you drowsy in the morning. So all of these together make a great complement to a nighttime restful concoction. And I even take a deep sleep during the day, by the way. So for calming, so the same formula can be used to calm nerves, jittery nerves. It's excellent for calming the hyperactivity or ADD, that short attention span thing, ADD, ADHD. So it's excellent for helping to calm the waters there. Children work, we get a lot of reports when a child begins to consume small amounts of these, just normal amounts, but this very small amount of clay, no matter how you get it into them, whether it be some morning drink or morning cereal or with or without sugar, ideally without. You never want to feed a child sugar, but if that's all you can do, then put a little clay in there and it'll help smooth out the jitteries and the crash that comes later. We even have clients who love putting our clays into their coffee because, again, it causes that smoothing effect. And so they'll literally take a pot of coffee, brew it, leave it in the fridge overnight, and put the clays in there, and it changes it. It changes it while it's brewing, and then he'll warm it up the next morning. It's a wonderful way. It's just a different kind of coffee. You stir some in, a hot cup of coffee. Well, you'll have less jitters, less drop, smoother energy, less acidity, less drain of your minerals and vitamins, because that's what coffee does. And so it's way easier on your system. Interesting. A little sacred clay, a little vitalite maybe, a little ormolite if you like. It's a different kind of a coffee experience. And my client swears that the best way to do it is to let it brew in the fridge overnight and with the clay in it. And it's a step beyond. Somehow, I guess the acids in the coffees change those minerals in the clays or whatever. But anyway, he loves it. So, it's a suggestion. So if, let's talk about the possibility of, what if you're on pharmaceutical drugs? If you're only taking a quarter of a teaspoon of a clay source, then, and a good portion of that will be the ancient plant minerals, which is not a clay source, then you really won't have to worry about interactions or interferences with pharmaceutical drugs because it's just not enough there to make that much difference. But it is still suggested that you take them an hour apart or more. So the reason being that if you take them together, then you will have a direct contact and it will absorb some of those pharmaceuticals. So if you're relying on them for whatever purpose, then you don't want to take a clay of any kind at the same time, but keep them apart from each other for a while. So if you want to learn more, there's a link in the email talking about the properties of earthen ormus. It's an article in the mineral section as well. I believe it's the first one. You can learn more about earthen ormus, and I'll be updating it with the new formulation. Now, why is it that ormus-bearing clays have such a balancing effect on human physiology? The real reason is because of it has adaptogenic properties. Adaptogenic means they adapt your physiology to the unique stresses that you're under in the moment. So it doesn't matter if it's hormones, energies, or certain chemicals are getting out of balance. If you're taking an adaptogenic substance, it's causing influences to move you away from extremes, whether they be high or low, and toward the center where balance would be achieved for your unique physiological system. And so it picks up. Adaptogenic means it picks up what your body needs and brings you to the middle, which is ideal. So this adaptogenic effect is very characteristic of an earthen ormus product, an earthen ormus-bearing clay. It's not as characteristic with some of the extracts. That can throw you out. Your balance is thrown out. Your mineral compositions are thrown out. For the same reason that you don't want to be taking colloidal silver, certainly not for any length of time. It is a single mineral. It will throw out your mineral wheel of balance, naturally occurring balance of ratios. Your body is very dependent upon properly balanced comparisons between calcium and magnesium and iron and copper and zinc. And so when you take a vitamin or mineral supplement of these things that was put together by a laboratory, now you have a problem. And that's why we don't take those concentrates, whole earthen resources for those purposes, to keep the mineral profile and the nutrient profile in a state that is balanced by nature. So in an unconcentrated form, to every degree possible, or minorly concentrated, such as in a tea, certainly no more than 5 times concentrated. The only product that we have of that nature in a more concentrated form is a blue-green algae concentrate called Stim Enhance. I do believe in that. I do consider it a safe and healthful product, even though it is a 5-to-1 concentration. It's about as concentrated as you want to get. It is well known that blue-green algae does contain ormus. And so in this case, you do get some excellent stem cell stimulus going on. And so, in fact, algae used to be one of the ancient alchemical methods of creating ormus, algae and dew. So your morning dew is another source of ormus-bearing properties as a general rule. And it has been said by Ida Rolf, the originator of the Rolfing technique, something to the effect that if you simply walk barefoot on the grass and in the morning dew and absorb that dew into your feet, that it will cure all diseases. I don't know how true that is. I do know that the principle does stand, that dew is how the plants receive a lot of their nourishment. And those who are wise will pay attention to this and utilize the dew in whatever way they can. If it means just walking on the morning grass, the wet morning grass, or figuring out a way to collect that dew, and so forth. Or if you can, roll your body on the grass and get your whole body coated with that dew. This is an interesting exercise that is described in the Anastasia books, the ringingcedars.com, Ringing Cedars, books regarding the woman Anastasia or Anastasia, Russian, Siberian, living in the, who made a big deal about the cedar trees, cedar nuts, and how healthful they are and how powerful they are. So she also says, one of her explains, the author actually observed this process, where she gets up early in the morning, gets underneath a pine tree or something that's bearing pollen, which a lot of them will, or a pollen-bearing tree, shakes it to get all the pollen falling on the dew, and then rolls her body in that dew, pollen-coated dew. And it nourishes her skin, nourishes her cells, and gives her life-giving properties. And then she goes and jumps into her lake and washes off. So when I saw that and then heard one of my other clients talk about Ida Roth's comment about walking barefoot on the grass in the morning dew, curing everything that ails you, I have to suspect there may be some truth to that. And knowing that the ancient spiritual cultures would take algae and expose it to the dew, the morning dew, or overnight, and collect that dew, and with that they would somehow, I don't know the full process, they would collect ormus-bearing properties in a naturally occurring source. So that's very wise. I would pay attention to those correlations here. See, when nature puts the soils and the herbs together, and the dew in this case, a great wisdom that is multidimensional, that is infinite, that is universal, went into the compositions and concentrations. And so their suitability for human body is ideal. These resources were made for the human physiology. How do we know that? The human physiology was made from the clay or the dust of the earth. Therefore, the food sources for the human body would naturally be coming from, grown out of the clay, the dust of the earth, or it actually is the clay of the earth. And nature knew what she was doing. And so these are compositions that you can trust. Earthen resources straight from the bounty of nature, all of which are designed with your own best interest at heart. Many blessings of health and success to each and every one of you, and enjoy these remarkable gifts from nature's bounty. Good night.
Walk with me out in the morning to my baby. Up to my I'm gonna look you out in the morning to my baby. Oh, let's make it out in the morning to my
Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, I'd like a hot dog all the way, please.
Coming up. Here you go.
Thank you. Ew. What is this?
That's a corn-based hot dog flavored tube-shaped thing. It's almost good. That'll be $4.50.
You know what? No thanks.
If almost good enough isn't good enough for you, why would it be good enough for your pet? Add kennel kelp to your furry friend's diet. Sprinkled on your pet's food, kennel kelp helps with arthritis pain and stiff joints. It can also reduce shedding, fill in missing areas, and improve their looks. Healthy pets show even more energy and have better attitudes. See results in 4 to 8 weeks. The good news is, kennel kelp isn't just for pets. It's good for you, too. Sprinkle it on your cereal, or use it instead of table salt when seasoning your food. Kennel kelp is the holistic care solution for pets and their people. Safe for dogs, cats, birds, cows, chickens, reptiles, almost anything that walks, flies, or slithers. It's a holistic health solution for humans, too. To learn about their many products, visit kennelkelp.com. Get Kennel.
Dog lovers, get the Liberty Wristband, the clever new hands-free way to keep your dog on a leash. Forget holding onto leashes or wrapping them around your wrist. The Liberty Wristband special clip lets you hook your dog's leash to your wrist for complete control while leaving your hands free. Carry your coffee, talk on the phone, all while keeping total control of your dog and his leash. When it's time for your dog to run free, a quick flick of the clip releases him. There's nothing else like the Liberty Wristband. Order yours today at kennelkelp.com. That's Kennel and Kelp with a K. kennelkelp.com.
For people with physical challenges, walking a dog can be difficult, even dangerous, but the Liberty Wristband makes life so much easier. Developed by a disabled veteran, the Liberty Wristband easily straps around your wrist, then uses a unique clip to hold your dog's leash tight, all while keeping both of your hands free. Releasing your dog is easy too. With a quick flick of the clip, your dog is free. The Liberty Wristband, order yours today at kennelkelp.com. That's Kennel and Kelp with a K. kennelkelp.com.
Hello, yes, and good morning, and welcome once again to the BA Sales Kennel Kelp Holistic Healthcare Show. And I'm your host, Bill. And in today's show, which is titled How to Create a Healthy, in quotation marks, portfolio, we'll play on words for a health portfolio if you were to consider it as a stock on the commodity market. But this is pertinent to natural medicinal pure CBD oil. So the title of today's show, once again, is BH Sales, How to Create a Healthy, quotation marks, portfolio of natural medicinal pure CBD oil. So I'll be continuing today to further expand upon the many benefits of the CBD oil that I've been talking about extensively for the better part of 2 weeks now. And I've listed the product categories here in the description of today's show to the respective categories that are now over at my dedicated website, categorized by health, anti-aging, nutrition, and pets. And if you click on those icons in the description of today's show, that will get you directly to my new dedicated CBD website that I've been talking about. And also I put a link in the description of today's show to my blog over at my kennelkelp.com website. And there'll be more information about a big sale for tomorrow, 4th of July, commencing today, that I'm offering on all my products. So you want to check that out as well. So when I've done these shows in the past, I've done many of these shows, I've alluded to that before, I try to update them, keep them in cycles of 10s, so I delete a lot of the history. But I've done, over 300 of these shows over the last half dozen years or so, or longer. So I always like to start them out. It's been a little hectic lately with a joke of the day. So joke of the day for today, and I always usually keep them embraced around animals due to my great passion and support of animals and animal rescue. So the joke of the day is, what do you call an alligator detective? And the answer is investigator. Symbols, please. I'll be here all week. Don't forget to tip your waiters and waitresses. Just goofing around. There's a reason for that. I'll get back to that. Also like to start it out with a thought of the day. Quoting, there's no such thing as a failed experiment. Only one that hasn't had full opportunity to yet materialize. That's contributory to Richard Buckmaster Fuller, and he's located at a site called motivateus.com. The prayer of the day is the following. Let no sadness come through this gate. Let no trouble come into this dwelling. Let no fear come through this door. Let no conflict be in this place. Let this home be filled with joy and the blessing of peace. Okay, subject at hand. CTFO, changing the future outcome. All 100% U.S. grown and processed hemp, CBD product categories. As I said, I broke them down in the show for you today, the description of the health category, direct link accordingly, anti-aging, again, direct links accordingly, nutrition, direct links accordingly, pets, direct links accordingly. What I'd like to highlight and talk about here is why use CBD products for pets. Humans and other mammals have cannabinoid receptor sites located primarily in the brain, central nervous system, and peripheral organs, especially the immune cells. The endocannabinoid has been found in all vertebrates, and CBD interacts in a similar way in pets as it does with humans. So everything that I'm about to highlight for the benefits of pets, when you get to the site, you'll see that it's applicable for humans, but all of this is applicable for humans. I'm gearing it towards pets today. Thank you. So therefore, it can be used in the treatment of similar conditions. CBD has less than 0.03% THC and no psychotic properties. Talked a lot about that, the THC controversies and so forth. You can read about that here, archivally in the shows, and over at my website, kennelkelp.com, and the blogs. I've already given BH Sales CBD cat treats, this new line, this new product, to my own two cats, Brady and Brody, and their cousins, Vito and Augustus, are trying them out also. As I said before, as I build my team for this project, I have a lot of family members on board, to include my son, my daughter-in-law, and my beautiful, beautiful Ada Bug. I'll talk about her, and have talked about her for years. Check out my website. Studies show that cannabinoids have anti-inflammatory effects and can help with a variety of animals, such as allergies and a variety of ailments, I should say, pertinent to not only animals but humans, such as allergies, loss of appetite, arthritis and joint pain, stop right there. That's the main reason. I'm about to get the human version cannabinoid probably right after the 4th of July. I've talked a lot about that. Check out my archival blogs. Works on humans extremely well. Also, digestive issues, fatty tumors, glaucoma, homeostasis. Homeostasis. Look it up if you're not familiar with it. Those of you that intimately are, that's what we're all striving for and want to attain in human body, animal body alike. Homeostasis. Look it up. IBS. Again, animals here in the human form. Long story short, my 95-year-old mother-in-law suffers from it. I've been harping on these products for years. Now that Graham's involved on the team, perhaps we can get some pain relief on the human side, on the immediacy to my 95-year-old mother-in-law. Yeah, that's a work for me to do. So getting back to the subject at hand, pertinent to animals, it also relieves inflation, phobias, seizures, skin problems, muscle spasms, aggressions, anxiety, social anxiety, separation anxiety, and especially geared around the 4th of July. Fear of thunderstorms, fireworks, any kind of loud bangs, car exhaust, what have you. You also want to check out at mykennelkelp.com. We do custom aromatherapies and the relax aromatherapy. Check out the testimonials. They have many customer testimonials. That works great. If you want to order that directly, go to blissfuldog.com and talk to Kathy. They make my custom products, onesie, twosie basis. Go to them direct. Read all about all of this program at my website. That's all pertinent and applicable to my BH Sales 5025 program that I work out with my vendors. We'll get back to that later, but that's an extra sales incentive for all of you. So it also reduces the problems with muscle spasms, aggressions, anxiety, social anxiety, as I said, separation anxiety, and fear of thunderstorms, and or long traveling in cars, especially, again, as summer and the holiday season being the 4th and so forth, as you travel with your cars, with your pets in your cars. This helps alleviate those types of things for the dogs as well. So it's great for post-surgery recovery, human and pet, and it aids with the swelling and stiffness as well as bone breaks, torn ligaments and strains, and ideally with the advice of your veterinarian and or doctor on the human side, as I suggest for everything. CBD can supplement synthetic drugs, which contain many side effects and can also be used daily to manage mood and pain. And it's perfect for aging pets. And I'll attest personally, it's perfect for us aging citizens as well. Jumping back to bone breaks for a second as a point here applicable to animals. One of my real good friends who's tentatively on the team, when he has a moment to digest the information, he's already signed up as an inactive, blah, blah, blah. He has to have some major surgery at the end of this summer with a finger that actually is pointing up, baby index finger, I believe, and it actually, whichever digit it is, it actually looks him right in the face. He cannot bend it. So we're going to get him some CBD oil, whether I get it for him or he decides to come on board. I've already given him one of my other creams for topical containing my sacred clay to alleviate some of his pain. So in any event, works for humans and pets as well. So BH Sales, Kennel Kelp, and white pet owners should utilize CBD oil for their pets is where you want to go. And listen in right now.
Blog Talk Radio. Yeah.
This summer, wherever you're heading in the great outdoors, make your first stop the Home Depot for off deep woods or active sweat-proof bug spray. Right now, get any 3 for just $10 in your backyard or in the woods. If it's long-lasting protection you want or sweat-proof performance you need, when off goes on, bugs go away. Stock up now on off deep woods or active bug spray, 3 for just $10. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing while supplies last.
Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, I'd like a hot dog all the way, please.
Coming up. Here you go.
Thank you. Ew. What is this?
That's a corn-based hot dog flavored tube-shaped thing. It's almost good. That'll be $4.50.
You know what? No thanks.
If almost good enough isn't good enough for you, why would it be good enough for your pet? Add Kennel Kelp to your furry friend's diet. Sprinkled on your pet's food, Kennel Kelp helps with arthritis pain and stiff joints. It can also reduce shedding, fill in missing areas, and improve their looks. Healthy pets show even more energy and have better attitudes. See results in 4 to 8 weeks. The good news is, Kennel Kelp isn't just for pets. It's good for you, too. Sprinkle it on your cereal, or use it instead of table salt when seasoning your food. Kennel Kelp is the holistic care solution for pets and their people. Safe for dogs, cats, birds, cows, chickens, reptiles, almost anything that walks, flies, or slithers. It's a holistic health solution for humans, too. To learn about their many products, visit kennelkelp.com. Get Kennel Kelp for a happier, healthier life.
Hello, yes, and welcome. Good afternoon. Welcome to the BA Sales Kennel Kelp Holistic Healthcare Show, and I'm your host, Bill. And welcome to the first impending weekend of summer here on Friday afternoon, June 22nd, at approximately 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And today I want to talk about BA Sales Kennel Kelp and why pet owners should utilize CBD oil for their pets, specifically in today's show. And as I said in the description of today's show, over the weekend I'll get into the human cannabinoid products that I'm going to be featuring and am featuring on a dedicated website. And this kind of segues in from yesterday's show when I talked about Al Morrington, the proprietor of Mavita Oils, who's soon to be the national distributor for my Sea Miracle 7 superfoods and the C7 technology scalar energy chip that I've been talking about and featuring here at the website for the last 3 or 4 months. And what I'm doing, because of Al's own product line of CBDs, I'll be negotiating with him unique to his own products soon in the next couple of weeks. And I wanted to talk today. I decided to go ahead and live up to one of my many monikers as Creative Solutions for Holistic Healthcare Products Distribution, and BA Sales does business differently. And I have many unique programs to include my BA Sales 5025 sales voucher that I've talked about. You can check that all out at my website. And I want to get into the nitty-gritty of the CBD oils today as it is pertinent to your pets. Studies have shown cannabinoids, when administered to pets, can have anti-inflammatory effects and assist in treating many other ailments as well. A very short list of those ailments would include allergies, loss of appetite, arthritis and joint pain, cancer, chronic pain, digestive issues, fatty tumors, glaucoma, homeostasis, IBS, inflammation, phobias, seizures, skin problems, muscle spasms, aggression, anxiety, and neurological diseases too. And that is indeed just a short list. You can go over to the link that's in the description of today's show over at my blog, and the links to the direct new CBD website that I've established. And tomorrow's show, as I say, will contain more info about the CBD website. And I will talk about featuring my human CBD oil products as well, and there'll be a huge sale over the weekend. And at the end of today's show, I'll do some more housekeeping and announcements of some other products that are on sale over this weekend that you don't want to miss out on, too. About 3 shows ago, I did a show about Primal Life Organics, and there's a huge sale coming up for them. It's called my website and tomorrow's show and my blog. So check out my big sale at my website, and you can read my today's blog to discover even more cost savings incentives that I offer in the way of my customer rewards and incentives over and above all of this. Auto ship programs, NBA sales 50-25 voucher that I alluded to earlier. Why use CBD oils for your pets? Humans and mammals have endocannabinoid systems, specific cannabinoid receptor sites located primarily in the brain, the central nervous system, and the peripheral organs, especially the immune cells. What I'm doing over the weekend and moving forward is this is, again, all my cannabinoid oils for both pets and humans by going to the dedicated website via the links that are referenced in the description of today's show and over at my kennelkelp.com website. You can sign up if you want to join the family in the way of having an opportunity to earn some residual income, all self-explanatory there, and or just be a client for yourself and your pets. And then BH sales 50-25 virtual vouchers are applicable to all of my products for an extra cost savings. Again, yesterday I talked about Al Warrington's buying club and my own buying club that many of my customers are members of and have many participating members. You want to check out those options as well, and then you have the opportunity to join in on the CBD website if you choose to, and or just be a client. You can be a client. You can also be part of the residual sales team that I'm also setting up. I'm also going to use this model of a template of how the system works in my discussions with Al moving forward and see how we can incorporate, as I said in yesterday's show, my entourage of products, his entourage of products, and I'm introducing him, or will be when I have the opportunity to do so, as I mentioned yesterday, also to my tourmaline spring water, which is a good vessel for administrating all of these products, to include my sacred clays, Kennel Kelp, Power Trio, Diatomaceous Earth, and my custom products that I've talked about before. So what I'd like to do now is go to an audio outtake, and I'll be back afterwards. This is the Cannabis Advisory Board.
Hello, my name is Dr. David Allen. I'm a retired cardiac surgeon and a member of the International Cannabinoid Research Society, ICRS. That means I'm a cannabinoid research scientist. And I'm here to tell you about the discovery of the endocannabinoid system, the ECS, and the significance and how it will change medicine. And we discovered the endocannabinoid system about 30 years ago, and we really didn't understand the significance of its discovery. And so we found out that this is a chemical communication that your body has. It's not electrical, it's chemical, and it's kind of like the hormone systems that people are familiar with. And your body makes these cannabinoids. They're endogenous, so they're endocannabinoids, and they perform some miraculous functions in the body. And we're just learning the significance of these functions. And basically, the endocannabinoid system is responsible for homeostasis. Most people don't understand what that really means, but it's the body's ability to maintain itself and function in a proper environment. And so it's critically important that doctors in the future understand this control mechanism. And we're finding out that manipulation of this endocannabinoid system will control diabetes, controls cancer, controls whether you can survive a heart attack or stroke. And so this is critically important for doctors to understand neuroscience. And the discovery of the endocannabinoid system is the single most important medical scientific discovery ever, and will save more lives than the discovery and application of sterile surgical technique. I'm a heart surgeon saying that. So more people will be saved by manipulation of the endocannabinoid system than are currently saved by surgery.
The recent research has been looking at cannabis and the different cannabinoids. There's over 80 plus cannabinoids discovered in the cannabis plant. The second most dominant one besides THC is cannabidiol or CBD. And the research now is over 1,200 peer-reviewed journals on CBD. It's probably the most exciting and researched ingredient or substance right now around the world. It doesn't have the psychoactive or high that is associated with THC, but it has a tremendous amount of other benefits, including research shows anti-seizure, anti-epileptic, which is why it's gotten a lot of popularity. We do a lot with children with seizure disorders, and they're getting benefits from this plant in a safe, non-toxic way versus all these drugs that typically don't work. And there's neuroprotective benefits, so you see a lot of concussions in the NFL. There's a lot of research being done now with chronic traumatic encephalopathy or chronically banging your head a lot. There's anti-anxiety, which is really important. The anti-THC of sorts that calms you down. It helps you manage stress better, which is how I look at it, is more as a preventative or daily use substance than just treating disease states. And there's immune support. It's a huge antioxidant. This is a tremendous feature sometimes to talk about what it doesn't do than what it does.
Dr. Alan Shackelford is a Harvard-trained physician. He's also among a handful of doctors in Colorado who give prescriptions for medical marijuana. From the moment Charlotte entered his office, he knew she was in trouble. While he was just examining her, she had 2 seizures.
She failed everything. There were no more options for her. Everything had been tried, except cannabis.
Here's how scientists think it might work. Marijuana is made up of 2 ingredients. THC, that's the psychoactive part that makes you high, and CBD, also called cannabidiol. It's the CBD that scientists think modulates electrical and chemical activity to help quiet the excessive activity in the brain that causes seizures. Dr. Julie Holland is the editor of the Pot Book, a complete guide to cannabis.
For a long time, the work on cannabis and epilepsy was sort of inconclusive. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. They couldn't quite figure it out. And it's only when they really started separating THC from CBD that they saw, definitively, yes, CBD seems to really stop seizures. So, in the 1930s, they made tinctures. What were they making the tinctures for? Why were they doing these tinctures?
Well, the medicinal uses of hemp are just numerous. The hemp helps, we can talk about the cancer effects of hemp, but it helps with inflammation. It's very anti-inflammatory. It helps with seizures. It's very effective with PTSD for the vets that are coming back that have post-traumatic stress disorder. Very effective at treating that. It's an anti-inflammatory. But then the uses of hemp for cancer, what I've studied, because of my book, Cancer Step Outside the Box, and the number of cancers, there's about a dozen different cancers that have been studied in depth with medicinal marijuana, with hemp. And so the studies from brain cancer to prostate cancer to pancreatic cancer, uterine cancer, cervical cancer, prostate cancer, it's amazing.
Okay, so what is in hemp that it's this THC, correct?
Well, there's chemicals that are called cannabinoids.
Right.
THC is short for delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol.
I'm glad you said it because I couldn't.
That's the only time I'll get it right. I'm glad I got it right. So that's the one THC, the one cannabinoid that everyone's familiar with. That's the one that's psychoactive, and that's the one that gets you high if you smoke it.
Okay.
But there's other cannabinoids. One is called CBD, cannabidiol, and it's very medicinally used. There's no psychoactive component of CBD.
So what do they do? Extract these? They make tinctures?
Yeah,
or you can make tea out of?
You can make tea. You can eat it. It's a great superfood. You're into raw. A lot of people use raw hemp in their superfood.
Do you get high off of hemp if you eat it as a superfood?
No.
Or just the seeds?
You've got to heat the THC to make it become psychoactive. So people that eat the plant, they put it in a smoothie, they're super green smoothies.
Right.
You're not going to get high off of that because you didn't superheat it.
But is it then, if you put it in a smoothie like that, is it good prevention to cancer?
It is. It's very well. It's
GLA, gamma-linolenic acid, in any of the plant. So it's got some really great fats. You're well aware of the importance of the fats in your diet. Yeah. So hemp it's a perfect superfood to eat, but it's also medicinal.
I just never understood why hemp had gotten such a bad rap, and now I understand that it was really politically motivated by somebody who owned basically trees and didn't want to be in competition with the hemp to make paper. And yet, throughout the years after that, so many people suffered because of that.
Yeah.
So I guess it's actually a good thing that people are coming around a little bit.
It is. I'm really encouraged about the different legislation in different states that are trying to legalize medicinal hemp because of the fact that it is so good. It's not just a superfood. It's not just great for industrial uses, as we've mentioned, but it's a really good medicine.
Thank you so much for coming on, Ty. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Okay, folks. First of all, if you're still there, God bless you, and thank you for doing so. Depending on how you got to this juncture in the tape, the audio of today's show, if you fast forwarded or if you've been with me all along the way, I wanted to revisit some of the topics that I've discussed in this episode. Going back to a couple of segments ago with Michael King specifically. Michael King, owner and proprietor of Vitality Herbs and Clay. I've talked about Michael many times over the years. He's been on the show, not of recent note, a couple of times, I think 3 times. Probably the most recent one goes back a couple of years now with everybody's busy schedules and so forth. I want to get Michael back on my guest list for August here on the show. It's one of the things I want to talk about with about 6 minutes left in today's episode. Revisit where I'm at, where I'm moving forward, and what we can do for you in the remainder of 2018 and moving into 2019. And all these things I've been talking about at VA Sales and Kennel Kelp and my semi-retirement and this new project with cannabinoids. Michael would be a very provocative guest. Can't wait to get him and talk to him about cannabinoids and mixing these earthen-clays. I take them in my own diet regime. I've talked about them for years. Earthen-clay water, my tourmaline water here in Maine, tourmaline spring water, which I'm also distributing and being a goodwill ambassador and so on and so forth. Michael and his crew out in Oregon, Ashland, the parent company, I sent them a case of this Gemology one-of-a-kind water, tourmaline. Read all about it at tourmaline.com. We just recently got an award, international award, best tasting water in the world, best design, and all the scuttlebutt that's been going on out there about spring water, what is spring water, what isn't, all the bad publicity. I've been talking about it extensively since March. Seth Brzezinski, whom I work with at Tourmaline Spring, my lifelong relationship with Summit Spring Water, the source, the 2 different versions of their marketing of the water coming from that source. Talking with Michael because I know he'll have Michael King have an appreciation for the gemology and the water and all of those subjects at hand, talking about my motivating factor, how these are contributing to cancer research, diabetic research. I talked about Dr. Lee, Jeffrey Lee, my connection with him personally and representing him on a former product years ago, and still deliberating with Greg Prom, lifelong battle with gastroparesis, innovator, creator of C7 technology and the liquid C7 liquid kelp. It's a miracle, 118 nutrients going right to the pico nano level. Scalar energy technology, pH balance. This all ties in. Al Warrington, I've talked about Movito Oils, awarded the distributorship for the C7 technology and the liquid sea kelp, which I've been representing here at my website since March, giving those guys some pretty good publications, billboard advertising here at my show, pretty good exposure. So I'm sitting in flux per Al Warrington, the proprietor's request, to give him a month or so to get some things off the ground. So in August, I'm hoping to have Al as a potential guest here on the show, Dr. Lee and Greg Prom. Matter of scheduling, everybody's busy schedule, Michael King, tying this all into relating in Dr. Lee's case, having the trials into City of Hope for cancer research with the products that I've mentioned. the development, the lineage of Greg Palm, my relationship in the background over 10 years following his battle, sticking in the bullpen, knowing that the technology would come to fruition, and it has over the years, the advantages that it presents not only Greg, the man's tried to pass 6 times. You can read the histrionics. And basically the C Miracle 7 and this technology are keeping him alive today as we speak. So I'll talk much more about all of those products, the Kennel in the water, Michael King. Michael King will be back on the show hopefully in August. I'm also working on Dr. Dustin Selak. I've talked about in a couple of episodes archivally here at the show. Go back and listen to those. He's the innovator, pretty much almost singularly responsible for introducing medical marijuana in this practice, and these cannabinoids into the state of Maine. And my treating physician is in his practice, Michael Eng, who I've talked about in all these conversations I've had with Dr. Eng and my own regime over the years of being a paleo diet, losing 40 pounds, maintaining my blood pressure 120 over 70, eating differently, being mentioned in Trina Felber's Beauty's Dirty Secrets. I referenced that yesterday. BA Sales being a paleo holistic healthcare supplier mentioned by somebody that's landmark expertise. Bill Feldman, I've mentioned in the past. You hear the outtake commercial for the Liberty wristband in these shows. Human interest story there. You can do the histrionics out on the World Wide Web. How all of these products have helped the medical device with the Liberty wristband. It's over and above an accessory for a casual dog walker. How I've tried to work with veterans in the service program. Going to do that again with not only the Liberty wristband being a medical device, but these cannabinoids, and my motivation is to gear towards helping animal rescue and disabled vets and people in chronic pain. I talk about giving a percentile of income generated at my website back to those charities respectively. I talked about earlier in the show to here today, just starting to interface in the greater Portland area, talk to Catholic Charities, to Janet there. I'm going to be trying to work with them about all of these subjects at hand, to include my water share program for churches, schools, how to grow your own food through Mike Adams, my affiliation with Clean Food, Clean Products, Clean Clay, how to change your eating habits, diminish your medical bills and insurance costs, how to present yourself with a business opportunity to provide health and wealth if you choose to do so. That's it in today's show. Always remember that BA Sales promotes good health in all animals and humans. Thanks. Have a great day. Be safe, be happy, be healthy, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.